Welcome to the Global Nexus of Communication channel. This project has been sponsored by Collaborative Global Initiatives. In today's show, I'm very excited to host Global Diaspora Series. I'm Lili Munoz, rooted in Colombia, reaching the world. I feel truly honored and deeply grateful for being surrounded by all these beautiful souls and for this wonderful audience. Today we're going to experience the collaborative global initiatives in action. From Canada to Mexico, make love for peace. Today featuring Cherie Ann. Cherie waves her extraordinary journey into a captivating book, Make Love for Peace. You're watching part 1. Subscribe to this channel and stay connected with Global Diaspora, where we explore identity, roots, culture, belonging, and the stories that connect us across borders. Click the bell, like, share, and join us for our next conversations. Thank you for being part of this journey. Without further ado, let's welcome Cherie Ann. Hello, Cherie Ann. How are you today?
Welcome. I'm very good. Thanks for having me. I'm just so excited. Peace up.
Thank you. Yeah,
Message.
Cherie, before we go deeper into today's conversation, I would love to begin with you as a person. Cherie Ann, who are you beyond your writing when you are simply living, dreaming, and being yourself?
Thanks for having me on your podcast. I am a mother and a grandmother. I have two grown daughters and a mixed family of grandchildren. So 3 grandsons and 3 granddaughters. And
Wow.
My mom still is alive and well and super healthy and doing her own work on the planet, helping people to grow and become better and healthier. So really privileged to have her as my mom, and I'll be visiting her again soon in Toronto. So heading back
Wow.
from Mexico.
Wow, how cool. Well, that's a nice introduction. Thank you so much for sharing that beautiful part of your life here. So, there is something that you just mentioned, and you say you moved from Canada to Mexico. And how, if you don't mind me asking, how was that experience for you?
It was a little challenging. I started out, I guess you could say, more as a tourist and extending my time longer and longer each season, and not really living full time per se, but more like a snowbird and finding ways that I could make it work here because I'm not married and I'm not retired, so I still have to work, and it's challenging. As a tourist, you can't really work in another country legally, so most of my work has been online. Um, and I didn't qualify for many of the resident programs. So during COVID and after COVID, they had an amnesty program that I qualified for, so I went for it. And with any luck, this November, I will be a permanent resident in Mexico.
Wow, how cool. That is very nice. Maybe I'll go visit you then.
For sure.
Well,
Yeah.
but that's very good too, because you have now the two sides of the spectrum, living in Canada, living in Mexico. I would like to know about the pre-book life. So, what is the biggest misconception people had about this subject before you wrote this book, now that you mentioned this diaspora experience?
Hmm. So I've had spiritual experiences basically my whole life. I didn't have any teachers or guidance around it. So nature was really my biggest teacher. And then I had my children early, and I once they were grown up, then I went into energy healing. I was really attracted to the modality called quantum touch, and I've been an instructor and a practitioner with quantum touch for over around 20 years now. Yeah, so it's been a long time, and I really love teaching it because as much as I want to help people as a practitioner, I find many people, unless they're ready and open to receive the energy, a lot of times they don't, or they want someone else to do all the work for them. So for me, teaching it is much more empowering. It gives someone the tools to do their own work. And one of my biggest messages in this book is to not give your power away to an outside authority, and to really take our power back by, not just the words that we think and speak to ourselves and each other, but also the signs and symbols that are constantly in our view, affecting our psyche.
Wow, very interesting. I am very intrigued about the first part of it that says your guide to emotional healing and inner transformation. So that is what the world needs nowadays, because we think that many things start from the outside, but we do not think that it might be a good point of start seeing the inner part, our inside. So
Well,
when
I'm glad that that speaks to you. I did a little video interview with a couple of people, and we were talking about our taglines. And my original tagline was healing the world one heart at a time. And I'm considering going back to that, just because as much as we do need emotional healing and inner transformation, there's many books on the market flooded with that topic. And for some people, they say that that wouldn't entice them to pick up the book. So I'm open to either keeping it or putting it back to my original tagline, healing the world one heart at a time. And the idea behind that tagline is the more we each do our own healing, individual and personal, the more we help the world as a whole. So for some people, the idea of becoming part of a community that's helping to co-create a better world is more enticing than just my own work. So it's larger than just our own work. It's a project, and the book really is born out of trying to help people understand what the project is and why it's important, and to give people a background, history, and her story, because we have a lot of history with very little her story, of kind of what brought us to where we are in our world today, and what are some possible solutions that we can use to help make a better world for all of us. Mainly, like, as a mother and a grandmother, it's super important to me to leave a better world for them. And there's so many things that I've seen in the world, as my children were growing and having their own babies, and that I was just like, wow, there were times where I was like, if I had known this was going to be going on in the world, I might not have had a baby, like I might not have wanted to bring a child into this world with so much war and division and things that we are really working towards dismantling and recreating this world. We all know, those of us in this field, we know in our hearts what is possible. We know what is a true feeling of community and living in harmony with our nature, real sustainability, not the lies that we've been told. There's so many twisted and inverted information to keep us in a box, in a controlled environment where we don't question and we don't look for alternatives that go against the narrative, shall we say.
yeah, well, you have said so many important things into this work of yours, and the part that I think make the most important contribution here is that the power that you give to people of believing in themselves, because most of the problems, I think, as you have said, is like We have been told what to do, how to do, when to do. And we're afraid of being judged or being like taking action on our own because we don't know better, I guess, because of our ancestors did it as such. And then we learned things and everything goes to like intergenerational subjects. And then when we find one of these masterpieces that touches and call us to take action, that's very nice. That's something that I congratulate you because we do need this work. So as you go into this part of the specific moment, do you think that you found like an uncomfortable moment that made you
Oh, yeah,
relax?
many. Oh, totally. Well, one of the things that I would feel nervous sharing with a mainstream sort of interviewer would be, how I feel about um, the fact that when people realize their programming and how important the vibration of words and symbols are, that we could have a really quick flip in the blink of an eye. Like I really do believe in the quantum physics of it all, and quantum isn't just the unseen; it's actually quantitative. It's the numbers. It's how much energy, how many people can be focused in the right direction together. Because when that happens, like herd mentality, when you watch a herd or a flock of birds know when to change direction, it just happens. And the studies are it's when 51% of them are facing in that direction. So I believe that this has the potential, as many of the other projects for peace on the planet do, to make a huge shift. And it could happen that quickly, but it does take enough of us. It's a group effort. It's a group project. It's not just me and a handful of people. And honestly, it's been very, I don't really want to use the term shadow banned, but it's been very, I've been out there for 14 years and hardly anybody knows about it. So, and maybe it's because I needed to write the book, but the project's been happening every year for 14 years on the day out of time. So,
Wow, good things take time.
yeah. And I would say the biggest misconception that people have had about the project and the book as a whole is that it's about all about sexuality and less about consciousness. And it's really more about consciousness while using the power of our sexual energy to raise the vibration. But that's not the only way people can participate. If people are not into donating their orgasms for peace, then you can meditate, you can drum, you can dance. There's so many things we can do, but it's more about the coming together
Mhm.
with a fairly singular focus. And I like to use the children a lot because, most of us that have, friends and family and children want a safer world for them. They want a world where they have clean air, clean water, healthy food, and people around us that we can trust to be safe with our children and not to abuse them. Because there's been so much abuse on our planet and so much trauma that it's hard to find anyone that hasn't suffered some kind of trauma. Um, and obviously there's a spectrum, there's various degrees of how much we're deprogramming from and healing from.
That's correct. That healing is urgent. What was the weirdest or more surprising thing you discovered during this research that didn't make it to the final part of the book?
Oh my gosh, there's so many things because there's so many rabbit holes to go down, and my goal was to keep it as informative but concise as possible without delving into each little thing so deeply. And so at the end of the book, I give a lot of resources. So if people want to know more about certain things, they can go on their own little rabbit hole journeys. But it was just how deep and dark the agendas go, and for how long they've been in place. I mean, it's
I understand that. I started writing, and then my book became like 800 pages long, and I'm like, no, I need to split this book into something different because nobody's gonna read 800 pages nowadays.
that's a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I've
did.
kept
Yeah,
mine to 100
no,
pages.
I had to divide it, and now I have a series, Global Diaspora, Cultivating Your Cultural and Collective Intelligence. This editorial work is envisioned as a 7-volume series. It explores life between territories, the route that walks, the identity that recognizes itself, and the bridge we build when cultural intelligence meets human centered information and communication technologies and a systemic lens. I wrote this book not to idealize migration and not to point at it either. I wrote it to honor it, to share the discovery of other cultures with each person who reads this book. Guided by 3 pillars: root, bridge, voice, this book explores the inner landscapes of migration, the memories we carry, the identities we reshape, and the invisible threads that connect cultures while living abroad. From that threshold where not knowing becomes a path, with the awareness that I don't know it all. This is the first book in Global Diaspora Series. This is not a traditional book. It is a symbolic passport. You don't need to have migrated to walk through these pages. It is enough to have been touched at any point in your life by the word culture. Imagine you are traveling back, not to live again, but to return to yourself. That simple gesture opens the doorway to the world of diaspora, an inner movement that precedes any physical border. Diaspora is not only physical movement, it is inner expansion. It is the quiet reconstruction of the soul as it crosses visible and invisible thresholds. A constant exchange between who we were, who we are, and who we are called to become, whether we live inside or outside our homeland. And if you feel called to go deeper, my book, Global Diaspora Cultivating Your Cultural and Collective Intelligence, continues this journey beyond this conversation. I invite you to stay connected with Global Diaspora. Subscribe to this channel and join a growing space for learning, reflection, and connection around identity, roots, culture, belonging, and life across borders.
I relate to that because every time have gone through the book and I have a formatting issue, all of a sudden it's like, oh, I missed that. I need to add that. Oh,
Ah,
there's more information I want to add now. So it's difficult to know when to stop. And I
and
think I got my line on when to stop. So the book will be live in the next few days. I just
I'm
thankfully,
very excited about it. I'm ready to
yeah.
buy it. I'll be the first buyer.
Oh,
So,
thanks. Yeah, I'm so grateful that I have so many friends, and one of my friends has helped offer to put it in PDF for me because I'm such a rebel that I don't have any of the mainstream tools, so it makes it a little challenging.
well, it's challenging, but it's like everything on earth. Sometimes you find these people that I call them angels on earth,
Mhm, mhm,
and it's always like according to the frequency you are in. Like we're talking about how we have to be like always into the positive side of things. I know it's difficult, but if we go more towards that part, there is always somebody somewhere that comes and help us make things happen. And also, if that is aligned to your purpose and your life project, then it's gonna be there. So that's cool.
mhm.
And what you said also takes me to the next question for you. Why books in today's world? Because they invite us to celebrate the remarkable brilliance of cultural awareness, the influence of social change, and the shared human spirit that connects us all. What was the most emotional, draining part of this process for you?
It was to keep telling myself that it was worthy of being written, and there was many times I wanted to give up, and it was challenging in the sense that I wasn't sure that people would understand it or take it seriously, or I was doubting myself. And so that was challenging, all the self doubts. But every time that I sort of stalled or had a doubt, the universe kind of kept back at me with like a new book or an article or, something to go, see, this is why you need to keep writing the book. So, yeah, that was challenging. And it was draining. And the research part of it, I find difficult also because it seems harder and harder to find things online. And I didn't always have access to a physical library. And then Spanish, I don't even want to call it my second language because I'm really still a beginner at Spanish. I understand more, but to read in Spanish, and here I am in Mexico, it's just difficult to find physical copies of books. But I have a lot of books and a lot of articles and a lot of research. But I noticed over the last 6 or 7 years, things I was able to research online before don't show up anymore.
Mm.
So it's just a little more
Yeah,
difficult to get the
like
information.
freedom of speech, we call it. So maybe that's why they are not there anymore. But
Yeah.
maybe we can do the second part. And I know we have a subject that I would love people to know about, this newspaper you're working on too. But that's going to be in another episode. But before
Okay.
we finish this part,
Sure.
I also would like to know, like, as a new author, what was the most surprising thing about the business or publishing once you finished the manuscript?
Oh, well, how many people that are independent authors that go with, the big boys of Audible and Amazon, and I'm actually choosing not to, but also how difficult the formatting part of it was. It
Yeah.
was surprising also because I was like, oh, I can do this myself. And it's like after
Uh-huh.
20 times in a few days, I'm like, I think I need some help.
Yeah, and especially the price. If we do it independently, the price of the book is going to be so high for the people to get it. And then you just end up thinking of that too.
Yeah, a lot of platforms want to charge more than I would want to charge, and then they take most of the amount from you, so you make very little. And
Yeah,
for me, it's not so much about making the money; it's staying in the private, and which is another thing I talk about in the book and teach about, and why that's important versus being in the public, and just having my own autonomy and not letting big business
thank you.
affect me any more than they already have.
Yeah, that's also something that you can do prior to. You just decide, well, this is your own book, your own work. So I created my own editing system. I created my own publishing company. So I do it all myself. I have the rights of the book. So I just needed this platform for putting the book right there so people can have access to it, but I have all the rights. So maybe we can talk in private how I did it, and then it might help you.
Yeah, eventually I do want to have a hard copy and an audiobook also. That's my next goals. Um, so yeah.
Before you go, I would like you to tell the audience a message for those people that want to write a book. Maybe they want to do it, but as you said, we just don't believe in ourselves or all these other things that we have already said. What would you tell them?
I would tell them not to be afraid to ask for help. to find like writers groups and writer accountability buddies, anything to help give you some extra support and even cheerleading, really, because it's so easy to drown in self-doubt and fears. And get into a community, ask for help. Yeah.
And create your own community too. That's what my book did. My book has a vlog, this podcast. It also has this community, the resource centers, and I created my own method. So I think we need to do more like, yes, we can do it. Let's empower somebody somewhere somehow is going to join us, and then little by little, because it doesn't happen like all at once. You and I have been spending years working on these projects, but it's happening.
But it's
So
happening.
it's cool to help each other. So
Yes, for sure.
I'm going towards these global diaspora authors and see what we can do in these collaborative global initiatives and through global nexus of communications. We're just
Great.
empowering people, getting together, vibrating on the same frequency. And that's another subject also that I would like to continue exploring with you. We're gonna have to have more episodes here. So, but now I just
Sounds
want to
good,
let you
Lili.
go. And yeah, time in TV, television, all this, it's just short. It flies. So
It's nice to keep it short and sweet. I agree. 20-minute chunks or 30-minute chunks, it's the best way to go.
yeah, because people are just in the rush, and they don't have that much time to sit down. But it'll be great also to have the audiobooks.
Mhm.
So I am one of them. If I am driving, I just play my audiobooks and I enjoy them.
Oh, I
But
love them. They're so
I prefer
versatile.
paperback, so I don't know. It's just nice talking to you, Cherie. Thank you so very much
Take
for your
care.
time.
Peace
I
out.
appreciate it. And I'll see you in the second part.
Great. Thanks, Lili. Bye.
Ciao, ciao. Guided by three pillars: root, bridge, voice, this book explores the inner landscapes of migration, the memories we carry, the identities we reshape, and the invisible threads that connect cultures while living abroad. Order your book now. Email us at mciscusa@gmail.com.